Hey everybody, welcome back to some more early morning barking, talking about BPD and NPD by somebody that has both. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe buttons and do all the socially things scrolling past you on the screen right now. Today, we're talking about boundaries, specifically the breaking of them and what we do. Excuse my voice, I'm full of cold and consequently cold and flu medication, so I might sound a bit rough or look like I died a few days ago, but I'm actually all right. So for cluster B people in particular, but for everybody, boundaries are important things. Boundaries relate to behavior we are prepared to accept from other people. It's a very general thing, but for cluster B people, it can become a particular tension point because we have our own particular sets of needs, requirements, things we care about, things that bother us, upset us, whatever. And for those of us with BPD, we might allow ourselves to become, dare I say, a bit doormatish, a bit used, a bit taken advantage of. We might let people walk all over us who decide to break our boundaries. And on the NPD, perhaps the APD or HPD side of things as well, there's tendency to, I don't know, think a little vengeful about the whole thing, which of course leads us down its own dark road of inappropriate behavior. And so I've talked before about boundaries and how important they are, and how when we enforce boundaries, it tends to make the people that we enforce them against throw tantrums at us because they want to go on treating us the way they've been treating us. They're very happy doing that. We are there to serve that particular purpose that they have for us in their lives. And when we put up this boundary, there's kickback because they don't want to change that. They want to continue to treat us the way that we have, and for that to be consequence free. And what we have to do, our responsibility, falls on not avoiding making that person throw a tantrum, because they're going to throw a tantrum. That's going to happen. They are going to try and make you feel bad for enforcing your boundaries. They'll make fun of you for having boundaries and forget that they have boundaries themselves. That they would be absolutely fucking terrified if you broke those boundaries in return. And they sort of forget just how capable you are of doing that and how you would giggle with NPD childish glee as you broke those boundaries. And so if we have a very clear boundary in place and somebody decides to start breaking it, what stages are they going to go through? You're going to get Darvoed for a start, right? You're going to be told you are unreasonable for having that boundary. It's your fault for you having that boundary. It's not my problem if I break it. You have to deal with that. Tough shit, right? And to some extent, that's actually true. To be fair, it is our boundary, right? It is our line in the sand that we're not prepared to cross. So if somebody else continues to break it, that's our problem to deal with. Because these continued boundary breaks, especially in the face of being asked not to, when you are repeatedly going to someone and saying, please stop doing this, it is making me uncomfortable. And they continue to do it because they're Darvoing you, right? Your reasons for being uncomfortable aren't good enough. They don't trump their reason for keeping to want to break your boundary. And they'll keep coming up with reason after reason after reason. You did this, you do that, whatever. And it's all them justifying in themselves in knowing that they are doing something to break your boundaries because they don't care. Now, on the BPD side of things, there is a tendency to just let people carry on doing that, right? There is a tendency to just, okay, they're just going to do that. They're going to walk all over me. I deserve that anyway, whatever. I'm just going to let them do it because I don't have any other friends or whatever. So I just have to let the friends I have treat me like crap. No, that's not true. Actually, that's really not true. This is where it does become your problem and you are responsible for doing something about it. Because if somebody is continually breaking your boundary, you can do a couple of things. First of all, I would recommend, just to be on the safe side, double check your boundary. Is this a reasonable boundary? Is this something you need? Are you expecting too much of somebody? Are you asking for something that is unreasonable? That's entirely feasible. I've done that myself in the past, right? And I found that boundaries I've put in place in the heat of the moment seem reasonable at the time, but seem very unreasonable in the light of day a little bit later. Hence the do it tomorrow mantra that we have, right? But if your boundary is reasonable, if your boundary is quite straightforward, something that other people would agree on, then you have to start looking to this other person who is continually breaking your boundaries. And if it's someone that you've gone to time and time again and said, can you please stop doing this? It's making me uncomfortable. And they're just, no, whatever, it's your problem. Then the best advice I can give you, really, and I'm saying this after 3.5 years of therapy, the best advice I can give you is to remove that person from your life. They don't care about you. They don't give a crap that they're hurting you. And they've made it clear that they wish to go on doing it because they see that as reasonable behavior, however they're justifying it in their mind. And the MPD side of things wants to get even, right? You break my boundaries, I'll break yours, right? Because it's so easy to do and it sounds like so much fun. It's so tempting to do, isn't it? Like when you suddenly start thinking about, well, I bet that person who breaks my boundaries actually has all kinds of boundaries of their own. I bet there's stuff I could share with that person that would upset them. And then I could just say something dismissive like, I don't care. Afterwards, that's your problem to get over. Why are you so upset about me doing this and breaking your boundary? You think boundaries are rubbish, right? So why can't I break yours? Why can't I share what I know? What would be wrong in that? Because boundaries are crap, right? And you want to set out to just embarrass and humiliate that person and make sure that you get even. And maybe you're doing that knowing that in actual fact, if you started doing that, you are even somewhat untouchable, right? I mean, that's the beauty of MPD. I am an open fucking book. There is nothing embarrassing in my life. There is nothing I don't care about people knowing. I make videos about porn addiction and erectile dysfunction, right? I make videos about all kinds of things that have happened to me in my life. There is nothing that I wouldn't say, put on Facebook and link to on my own. So when we get to a point of saying things like, well, I could just break other people's boundaries, what can they do back to me? And you think, well, there's actually very little they could do back to me. And if something escalated, I could escalate significantly further than that person who keeps breaking my boundaries and really make them wish that they'd never got into this argument and just left you alone in the first place. But that would be wrong, wouldn't it? That would be inappropriate behavior. That would be stooping to their childish, pathetic, uncaring, self-centered, unempathic level. And as Cluster B people in repair, in healing, we're better than that. We're above them. We won't go to their level. We won't stoop down. We will look at them and roll our eyes and say, God, how pathetic. How pathetic are you, shoving this thing in my face over and over, and even though I don't want you to? Why are you even doing that? What inadequacy, what insecurity in your life does that represent that you need to keep shoving this thing in my face? However many times I asked you to stop doing it. You've just got to. And even when I keep complaining about it, oh, we're talking about this again. How have you still got a problem with this? Oh, it's so your fault. Just cut them out because they fucking hate you. They're not good people. They don't care about others. They only care about themselves. They are all that matters. And everyone else who has a problem with them can get lost. And they think that's empowering. They think that's really strong and powerful, that if I upset people being the way I am, then that's their problem. Screw them. I don't need them in my life. They don't need me in their life if my normal behavior upsets them. So don't have them in your life. And you will see that other people start cutting this person out as well, because if they're doing it to you, if they're breaking your boundaries, if they're being unreasonable with you, then they'll be doing it to other people sooner or later, because they won't acknowledge their behavior as bad. They won't grow, they won't change, they won't become a better person like we're trying to be. They'll just continue thinking that they're perfect and it's everyone else who's mad. So you can't get through to them. And ranting at them, raging at them, trying to hurt them back, projecting all this stuff is going to do nothing, because they're not bothered about what you do. And we're the crazy cluster B guys, right? We're the ones who, when we do anything to defend ourselves, we go, oh, I can't talk to you when you're like this. Because we have so many things that neurotypicals can say to us to just shut us down, or people who think they're neurotypical can say to us to just shut us down. So don't bother. Leave them to it. Let them get on with their childish, pathetic behavior of knowing that they're breaking your boundaries and not caring. And remove yourself from them. You only have a boundary with that person if they're in your life, if they're part of your life, if they can do something that makes you feel uncomfortable, sad, unhappy, hurt, whatever the emotion is that comes with it. They can only do that if they're part of your life. And do you really need people who treat you like that? Personally, I'd rather spend days and days and days and days alone than spend time with somebody who doesn't care, who knowingly, willingly, repeatedly breaks my boundaries. Why would I want to spend any time with that person? Why do you want to spend any time with that person? Right? It doesn't matter if people believe you about their behavior. Right? And you will have some people in your life who believe you about their behavior, that will have been with you every step of the way through every boundary break, rolling their eyes with you and telling you how pathetic that person is. They'll all know about it. But you're the only one who can actually do something about it by removing that person from your life, by saying, right, if that boundary is a problem for you, then I need to take a step back. I need to defend my own boundary that you keep attacking. And they'll kick off at that too. They'll talk about all the trouble that you've caused, all the problems that your problem has created. If only you could get over your problem of having your boundaries repeatedly broken by another person, then their life would be better. They will never accept any responsibility for anything that they've done to cause you any discomfort or emotional stress. So you have to remove yourself. Let them just go on their own, proud of how they are as a strong person by repeatedly breaking people's boundaries that they think are crap. And then saying, well, that's your problem. I'm just too real. I just say what other people think, and if you can't handle it, that's your problem. Get over your boundary problems. You don't need these people in your life. They're not your friends. They're not your friends. They keep you around to get stuff out of you. And when they start getting less stuff out of you, they're gonna kick off. They're gonna start tantruming when they find out that they can't take advantage of you anymore because you simply will not go there. You will not put yourself in the situation that allows them to break your boundaries. You will not stoop to their level and start rebelling, start getting revenge, because that's what they want you to do. So they can point at you and go, look, see what the crazy narcissist is doing to me. They want to make themselves a victim in their own behavior, because it's easier to justify treating other people like garbage if you think you're a victim. And they can convince themselves of that for, God, a lifetime. An absolute lifetime. And no matter what happens, they'll never reassess themselves. So you take yourself out of the equation. Don't allow yourself to have your boundaries broken. Don't allow somebody to treat you with such disrespect. Screw them. Let them go and live their own life. Let them go off and tell the world, anyone who will listen, who still thinks they're a good person because they haven't found out all about them yet, right? Let them hear all this crap of, oh, the narcissist in my life was so horrible. He kept wanting me to have this boundary that I didn't want. So I kept breaking it. He's such a horrible person. And then he got so upset when I kept breaking his boundary over and over again. Oh, they're so mental, these cluster B people. You'll hear all that. Fuck them. Let them go off on one, right? Let them go off on one, because the only people that will listen to them are equally dumb and stupid and worthless, right? The people that matter to you in your life are your close friends, your family. I don't care what other people's friends think about me, because they're going to see it eventually, right? Never forget that someone who breaks your boundaries eventually breaks everybody's boundaries. And when that person sees that happening, maybe, they'll learn something, but whatever. Anyway, I hope that helps. Sorry for the lack of output over the last week. I've not been well. I'm still not well, but I think I'm doing videos again. This clearly is one, so there you go. Don't forget, check out the Patreon and the membership on the YouTube, because there are extra videos in there as well. So you take care. I'll see you later. Bye.